Greg Benson. Greg, can you come up, please?
Before we get Greg up here, as he comes up, I want to read this to you because we're not going to read each and every one, but here's how it goes. It says, this is a beautiful frame. Minnesota Softball Hall of Fame 2023 Inductee Award, given in recognition of superior performance and contribution to the sport of softball. This citation bears witness that Greg Benson of Scandia shall forever be enshrined in the Minnesota Softball Hall of Fame. And this is such a beautiful plaque.
Greg Benson was the tall, lean catcher who caught for Scandia in the late 60s into the 1970s. When he began playing for Scandia, he caught legendary Hall of Famer Wayne Erickson and transitioned into the 1970s catching Hall of Fame pitcher Jim Lindbergh, winning multiple state championships along the way. While Greg was a good catcher and an integral part of those teams, he was much more feared and remembered for his time spent in the batter's box. There were two kinds of people from that era: those that were fortunate enough to share the field with him and told the stories, and those who did not and heard the stories. And there were many. The stories in a minute. Greg's father, Lester "Lefty" Benson, could be considered the original pioneer that started fast-pitch softball in Scandia after World War II. It could be said that Greg was born into a dedicated fast-pitch community. Beginning in 1964, 16-year-old Greg began playing for an upstart team in Marina on St. Croix, Minnesota, whose pitcher was 17-year-old Jim Lindbergh. The young kids had great competition right from the start, battling some of the state's best teams in nearby Scandia and Stillwater in the Friendly Valley League. Greg, Jim, and the young team from Marine played these teams often and improved very quickly. It wasn't long before the boys from Marine beat Scandia to win the Friendly Valley League. It has been told that Meisters in Scandia hung a black flag in the bar on the night of the upset. They took their fast pitch pretty seriously. In 1967, Greg was brought home to the Scandia team and had a chance to catch Wayne Erickson. As they made a run, winning 4 Class AA ASA state championships between 1967 and 1971. One of the most talked about games was the 1968 championship game in Austin, Minnesota. Playing the team from Hibbing, Minnesota, Wayne threw a 2-hit gem, and the scoring came in the 4th inning with a 3-run blast from Greg. The win marked the second in what was to be a string of 3 state AA championships in a row. More than a good defensive catcher, Greg became one of the most prolific power hitters of the era. Standing 6'6" and batting from the left side, he was an imposing batter for any pitcher. In the South St. Paul Invitational Tournament, Greg hit a home run in each of his first 3 at-bats. When he hit a line drive single in his 4th at-bat, the crowd was said to have booed. By the 1980s, Greg's appearances were limited to playing for the old-timers teams at the annual Scandia tournament. But with a strong cast, including Lindbergh, Donovan, and other talented players, the home crowd was treated to a continued high level of play. Benson would always deliver his required home runs, and the team would always place high in the tournament. In 1990, Greg had another highlight when he and his 3 softball-playing teenage sons and their friends entered their first ASA MSF Minnesota State Tournament in Mankato and won. One last story took place at the 9 a.m. Sunday game at the 1998 Harris Invitational Tournament. Greg and his lovely wife Mary were there to watch their sons playing in the game. At 8:55, the Scandia team only had 8 players. Unsuspecting Greg was standing along the fence line in shorts and sandals. The manager went up to him and explained the dilemma. Greg ran to his vehicle to grab his sneakers, borrowed a glove, and went out to right field. At 50 years old and not having played for years, in his first at-bat, he lined the ball off the fence for a double. In his very next at-bat, he hit it over the fence for a home run. For almost his whole life, Greg has been a prominent member of the Scandia community and a strong ambassador to the game of fast-pitch softball. Please join me in welcoming Home Run King, Greg Benson, to the Minnesota Softball